Okay. I honor you for watching here on YouTube Live at Blooming Light at Blooming's Tribe. It is Thursday, September the 18th, 2025. It's approximately 4:52 p.m. Central Standard Time in the U.S., Beaumont, Texas. Okay, I don't have a lot of time. There's a lot going on today. So it's happening. These are messages that's pertaining to collective of you out there, honorable feminines or masculines who you know and have figured it out and gathered enough information, data, and proof and so forth to know that you're definitely somebody that is being targeted, and technical court term is organized community harassment. Now, in this case, this is a situation where if this applies to you, maybe this portion doesn't. So just take the pieces that seem to relate or res to your situation. But this is definitely honorable feminine that may be older, and she has an adult differently abled young man, and she's their caretaker, and he is in affordable housing and all of that good old stuff. And so she's basically like a nursemaid. I mean, to me, caretakers is fancy for your nursemaid. Um, and so needless to say, there's a lot that she has to do constantly, even under the restraints that she's been forced. And I'm going to use that word because it's appropriate, forced, okay, to be under. So the situation with the collective here is that this harassment has hit the place in which they live, the place in which, whether it's the child, you both, it's not just everywhere but there. Fascinatingly enough, this same feminines could have came across people several months ago when they were maybe just out and about at the mall, and a situation happened there where, yes, dare I say it, the stalkers had the audacity possibly to report. That's something that's typical. It's a strategy. It's what these types of people do. They had, the audacity to say that she, to try to get her into trouble. Okay, it's called attempting to destiny swap. It's called baiting and flipping the switch. They antagonize you, they swarm you like flies, and then when you start looking at them, oh my God, I'm being watched, I'm being stalked. So this person that she spoke with the security several months back, because he tried to act like he's being nice to her. They talked for about an hour or so, and he had made mention like, well, if that's what's happening to you all, why would you all leave the house? Why would you leave the house? The place that you all are at, mostly if you feel that's happening to you. And now I look back and I'm like, that's funny, because more often than not, people don't even take into account, and what if it's happening there? See, and that's something that people shouldn't be asking you anyway, by the way. If you're somebody out there and you are going through this, these are people who may very well be in on this shit. Okay? Because they try to get you explaining yourself, and you shouldn't have to. You are the one that is being violated. You being questioned about, well, why would you do this, and shouldn't you? So that's the remedy. You're trying to say to me then that since I am claiming this, then essentially we should just bunk up, hide out until it gets fixed, and apparently nobody's competent here enough to do so. So yeah, so if you run into that when you're trying to seek help, put your red flag up. Okay, they may or may not be, but just keep your, just caution. Don't jump to the conclusion, but put your red flag, because again, instead of real solutions, and then the assumption that, what I'm saying, it's not happening in that location. Okay, so in this case, it's definitely happening, and it's over 50%. Now, whether or not, I have not gotten that deep yet, whether or not this is all the way up to the owners, I don't know yet. Okay, but all I can say is that it is 50%, and they're getting caught left and right every day. Feminine you know, has decided that, you know what, I have given everybody a fair shot to do their fucking job. So I'm gonna do what I have to do. Because it's my child. It's his life. And if don't nobody else care about it, I do. It's his life. And my life affects his life, which means so what affects me affects him. So if nobody else care, I do. I'm not gonna wait for no fucking permission. So feminine is learning from her enemies. She is learning from the community organized harassers themselves, actually, because she's studying them now. And so she is, first and foremost, you become heightened when you're on the receiving end of this type of thing, on top of already being intuitive anyway. There's an uncanny, unnatural thing here that happens. I believe it's in part why, like, the deep state and like the deeper upper government type shit. A part of me believe like that's why they do it, because like, you know, it's a shame. It's a fucking shame. But, you know, trying to figure out like, damn, like, okay, so when you put this torture button, bitch, then, you know, you know, let's see what happens, you know, kind of shit. So, I'm serious. Like, I believe that's what they're doing. I think they're shocked with me. I think a lot of them, the ones that are on that side, I'm not talking about the cults and like the lower side of it. The ones that are on that side, that high up, I think that they're like, this is crazy. Like, this is... Because it's some kind of, let me tell you what happened. Let me explain why in this collective reading, it's a feminine, it's a bad bitch. I don't care if people think she ain't shit and she ain't all that and she ain't got this and she don't look like that and she a bad bitch. Tough that shit on cash, bitch. Just sitting to tilt, you know, like anyway. So feminine play the game. They play with her every day. So she played the game. All eyes on me. And you know, she was relaxed. She definitely loves the sun and the sunshine and the, you know, the breeze. That's something that she's always loved, and she felt like it's been robbed because, you know, when you got stalker, psycho killer, weirdos, and you know, kind of dampers that a little bit. Especially when you ain't a highfalutin celebrity with $1 trillion that can pay for your whole entourage of killers to kill at will if motherfuckers trip too hard on your ass. That brings a whole nother level of comfort. But anyway. So, now, feminine called many people today. Many. She's keeping, this is recorded. It's record. It's record. And so she called many that's from the complex, okay? Then she called others that just on a repeated, because, you know, they typically, most of them, especially if they're in vehicles, if they're in vehicles, they have a tendency to, depending on where you're standing or how long you're in that, they have the tendency to repeat, which show it in itself, okay? And also some of them link to where the sun lives. You see where the connection is going to come from with that? So now in this case, what happened, the feminine was sitting on a bench, you know, it's outdoors, sitting on a bench. She already scanned, she's been scanning. She scanned home chick with the white, you know, with the cream collar, the Manny Ash. I gotcha. I actually know who you are. Now that person just sat, just, they just sat and sat for good 35 minutes, not in a parking spot, not even parked, not in a parking spot, just in front of the entrance of a business. So, you know, most would go here, which is what feminine does as her process. She has it, it's like calculated. It's natural. Oh, they're waiting for somebody to come out. And they're just sitting right there because somebody's supposed to be coming out for 30, 45 minutes. Okay. So feminine sits there and go, whatever, she don't care. She just can and looked her up and down, scanning the fuck out of her. Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Now, meanwhile, these people that the feminine scans around her, she can pick up in her peripheral or different things where people will start communicating on their devices, and some on foot start to move as suddenly somebody is cute and they come out of the store, bitch, and the whoop, and then like she'll pick it up, but she won't do nothing. So it's not like she's not gonna flip out or nothing. She's watching. And now in this case, this is where it gets a little funny to her because she wasn't trying to in this case. So that's why it's like, okay, normally if I'm trying, okay, I already knew. But right now I kind of wasn't. And this was just kind of an accident. So there's this gentleman that stay in the same complex, and he African-American gentleman, he walks a dog, and this dog, I think it's a girl dog because she wears clothes. At first I didn't think it was a girl dog. My son didn't think it was a girl dog, but I think now I'm like, no, it has girl clothes on. It has pink girl clothes on, so it's probably a girl, okay? I mean, we could be wrong, so no gender biases there. We can be wrong. The whole thing is the doggy wears a pink. It's a significant difference. You know, they wear a pink outfit. And we've seen them before, okay? So now this is what happened. I was sitting on the bench. Feminines, if you got something similar, then this might be you a similar story. But I was making a phone call, or I was on hold. Like I was doing several things at once, and I was looking at a folder, making a phone call, and trying to scan the environment all at the same time. And for whatever reason, now this is what I'm trying to explain, because I wasn't planning to. For whatever reason, I just looked to my left. Okay. Now, the reason what made it obvious is because I think that I shocked him. Okay, let me explain why this happens this way. I think I shocked him because he was walking towards me, like in the direction coming towards me. And when I looked, it looked like he just did, like dead stopped moving. Like at first he was walking, and he just dead drop stopped, looked at me and just stopped. And I kind of like squinched my eyes. And then I had to go back to the call. Like I didn't get to stay with it long. I had to either look at the folder, go back. It was something like that. And then I turned back. He had turned around and decided to go back towards, looked like going towards the complex or towards the other businesses that's closer to the complex. And then Phil was like, huh? Like, she looked tripping. She was fixing to go anyway. She was wrapping something up. She gets up. She clocks, you know, some of them people that was still around and how they was like, I got you with her ass. And then she got up and then she just started walking, and noticed like she wanted to see if her eyes was right. Because, you know, sometimes, okay, maybe you're stressed out. Maybe it was one of those days. So giving room and space for error and mistake. Because it can be. We all flawed. We're all flawed. Every last one of us. Okay? Giving some space and some room for error. You know? And I was like, nope. You know, as I started squinching, as I started walking back towards, I was like, no, that's him. I saw him. And so, you know, And this is all recorded. It's recorded. You know why it has to happen like this? It has to. Because every time a targeted individual attempts to even talk about this, it's immediate condescension from most people. Immediate. Who are you that people would want to want to be stalking you so badly? Who are you? What are you that, you know, all these people would be wanting to, what's so great about you? What's so, as if it's some kind of honor and shit. Like, we ain't even looking at it like that. It's supposed to be some kind of honor because fascinating. And you know, it's ignorance. It's ignorance to think that the only people who are going to be being stalked like that are superstars. That's ignorance. You know, people that are superstars, people that are wealthy, filthy rich, people that are the Bill Gates of 2025, and the you know, it's naivete and it's ignorance. We look at people, humans have a tendency to look at people and size them up. Like, well, they ain't got nothing. Why the hell this many motherfuckers would we have to understand sometimes people just, it's mental illness. Like, we want shit to make sense really bad. I'm just saying, we look for that as humans. We want shit to make sense. Especially if you're on the lefty brain, get the technological, you know, we want it to make sense as far as we are able to calculate and what our culture, you know, conditioning is. It's like, why does somebody want to stalk somebody, some lady who ain't got nothing, and her disabled son? What kind of shit? Who, huh? What's the point of that? That's a lot of wasted time and energy and money and resources. And our sentiments, exactly. Our trust and believe, it is our sentiments, exactly. It's a wide range, and we just have to accept that there's a world in the world, behind the world, in which we think we live in. Simple as that. And as I stated, mental illness, personal vendettas, people with God complexes, with lots of money to play with and time to waste. People in social media that's trying to ensure that they stay successful. Scared of healthy competition. Did you hear me? Did you hear what I just said? Healthy. I didn't say casting spells, spreading lies and rumors and stealing and doing. I said healthy. And the way they get ahead of it is try to create a problem. Tanya Harding. One of my favorite references. Some of you all maybe were not born, or you may just too young, you know, because that's old. That's the 80s. But the bitch, no, she just couldn't handle it. She couldn't handle the honor, let me just say this, the honor of their sport, you see what I'm saying? Like, you know, everybody train, you know, you're in it and you train, bitch. And you know, and you give it all you got, because, you know, you heart, all heart, you do, you know what I'm saying? Whoop. Heart, man. Okay. And you roll with that. And then, you know what? You're usually gracious and graceful when you're that type of a sportsman. Okay? Because, you know, because sometimes you might lose. Not that you're going to like it. You know? But you're not going to go try to slit the bitches. You ain't finna go, you know, try to sabotage the game, bitch. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, okay, I see where I need to maybe, you know, that's not my strength. Okay, it's okay. Or maybe my seasons, you know, we have winter, spring, summer, fall, and that's okay too. It's not the end of the freaking world. Don't mean I wasn't a great skater, bitch. You know, and as much as it bothers me and many of you out there, this is the realm we live. Your heart, you go in with heart, you go out with heart. Your heart, your resonance, your presence, your raw, imperfect. And you cool with whatever comes to fuck with it. I don't know. That was the truth is from the beginning. You see where I'm going with that? It's nothing wrong with success. This is not about being anti-success. This is not anti-wanting even to be the best. I think it's great. You know, if you folks out there, you know, they really want to be, you know, I think it's great. Great. Good. You know, if they want, because, you know, more often than not, you know, it comes down to money, right? But you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's great, because money, once again, like everything else, money is not evil. I hope we can graduate past that. It's not evil. Not bad, not foul, it's not wicked, just like sex isn't. Okay? These things only gonna bring out and highlight what's in people, or on people. That's as simple as that. I'm smacking, right? It's because, check, when you ain't got nothing, it's almost a forced compliance. It's a forced fake compliance. I have to say that, because it's just you putting on airs, you're putting on shows, you're doing what you have to do, you're smoozing, you know, you're smiling when you want to frown, you're saying nice shit when you want to say fuck you all day. You know, you are, because you're trying to make it, you're trying to survive, you're rubbing shoulders, you know, whoop, okay, we may not like it, but you know, you're trying to, you know, you got bills, nigga, you know. Inside you're screaming, I loathe you entirely. So people have a tendency to really put that on strong. But once you are in a position of what? I say it all the time, and so does many others. You want to get to the roots of things. It ain't about a long PowerPoint conversation with nobody. You want to get to the root? You want to get to the for real? give them position of power, give them title, give them money, and a lot of it. So whoever their character is going to come out. So if they're a prick, you're going to see it eventually. They're prejudiced, you're going to see that eventually. If they're mean, and you thought this whole time, like they seem to be like so nice to you, and then they got a lot of money, and all of a sudden it's like, and we're not talking about a situation where there was like real abuse done or mishaps done, but like it's just nothing happened, but just all of a sudden, you know, all of a sudden, you know, they, you know, they're rude, they don't answer, you see what I'm saying? That's what happens when motherfuckers get real comfortable in life. Take that shit away. Guarantee you they'll have conversations with motherfuckers. Am I lying? Are we willing to be honest about this? Am I lying? Strip shit from motherfuckers who've been comfortable for a long time. Strip them to nothing. And just observe. This ain't about making, just observe over a period of time. Let's see if it don't alter it. Because most folks don't do, here's where I'm going with this part. Most folks don't do the real inner and outer shit in these various different seasons, in my humble opinion. So for an example, let's say the seed, the person is in the sowing of the seed season, and there's not a lot of fruit or harvest. So, you know, it's restrictive. And in that season, developing what? Looking at oneself, you know, maybe reparenting oneself, reevaluating your beliefs, looking at your, you know, doing all that inner stuff, and you know, building some character, looking at what your values are, assessing all of those things, and looking at your biases and your nose blindness and your partialities, and in love, but looking at it so that you can deal. And, you know, apply from there. So guess what happens then if this person gets into another different season in life where, and this is typically when people they co-created it versus somebody just handed it to them, okay? Because it's a different feel, it seems, when people either just steal some shit that they really didn't co-create, or something was just handed to them because of an associated with a celebrity bitch, or, you know what I'm saying? It's something about when you have put the fruit, the seed, and the cultivation and the co-creation. It's something to be said about that. Because that's where character is refined. And that is where it is tested. And then when the person gets in this, I bet you're going to see, it's a reflection. I guarantee you that you will see the essence of that threaded through that person. Anyway, I don't know how I got that far off. I was kind of just saying how I was really trying to just talk about how folks assume, like, they'll look at you and feel like you're not something you're not something that anybody would be wanting to stalk. And here's what's funny. I kind of wish that was the case. I do. Because, you know, that's not glamorous. I think people maybe, you know, maybe a little delusional about it, and, you know, fantasize, just like there are people who fantasize about jealousy. Like, if you really are a victim or a receiver of that, you don't look at it that way at all. You don't. And we're not talking about lightweight shit where you just got little haters gonna hate type of shit, and they just looking at you. No, we're talking about people who are engrossed with jealousy to the magnitude that it provokes and push them to break the law, and it provokes and push them into some very criminal, insidious behavior. And that is not something that nobody wants to feel. Not nobody with no children, not nobody who cares about that. That's not cute. That's not something to like go around, yeah, you know, they just, you know, they just so jealous and so they, I just, no, it's a no, nobody, no, no. It's nasty. It's a nasty spirit. It is a nasty energy. And it could be potential dangerous. It's in the book that many of them read, or at least they proclaim to. I wonder when people be reading that, have anybody ever said, because when I was studying the Bible and shit, I remember I would sit, see, people don't know about me. I'm going to leave that alone. I ain't even finna fuck with them. But I would sit, because of the way we were taught, the discipleship, you know, that we came under. You know, it's, you can't do it. This nice that you remember. You need to connect. You need to apply. You need to sit with it. You need to chew it. You need to feel it. And, you know, ask yourself some questions. You know, like, go through this whole thing. And see if something comes up, because you know how people talk about discernment, and they talk about what was revealed to them, and then they talk about, you know, this came to them. Oh, good. So then when you are met, because this is what I was experiencing, believe it or not, it wasn't always about everybody else. Oh, how bad, boo, you know, they bad and awful, you're the best, and ain't they so bad and awful. That wasn't my personal experience. I should say, I can't speak for other people and what they, but for me, that's not, and it was gentle, it was kind, at least for me. I know sometimes we experience shit from church folk, but, you know, for me, it was like, you know, it would reveal pain. It would reveal something, you know, like, okay, like a memory, something that happened, and then like kind of like, where did that click? Where did that associate? Like stuff like that, and then owning it and feeling it and that kind of shit. I wonder if anybody doing that, because I think it's fascinating that a lot of people that's quoting it is actually jealous, and they are not remotely self-aware about that. Because they're talking their way out of it, you know, and if they have a real I don't even want to say disorder, but if they really do have, let's say, an imbalance, a major one of the big dogs, okay? We're not talking about stress, anxiety, PTSD, one of the big dogs, okay? That won't let them, if that makes sense. It won't allow that. So it will then go into the reasoning aspect and go, no, oh, you know, I'm not jealous. You know, because you know, I've dealt with my things, and, you know, I'm accomplished, and, you know, I don't. Okay, but you're plotting against somebody that, if you're honest, they didn't do anything. So what's your answer? What's the truth? Forget what you're telling people, because we already know about your lies, your fantastic voyage of lies. Then what's the truth? Oh, no, I don't like them. And why? I don't like what they be saying. You know, they think they all that. They think they the shit. They think they just. I don't like what they be saying. I don't like what they teaching on their social media. I think they're arrogant. I think they're just, but why? And why are you there? Because for you to get this opinion, that means you possibly have had to be there more than once. Is it something about you that you're not facing, that you can't live down, and you can't live down because you want to think of yourself in a certain light, and this person is expressing something that you're squelching? You mad at yourself for your desires that you squelch, and so you want to vomit, scapegoat, trauma dump onto the person who is free and not dealing with that. Subconscious kicking in to want to vomit and punish because it's something that it's a scapegoat. It's something. This person is free. You have to hide. You're a distorted witch, and you know it. And you've had to pretend your whole life. The collective is an honorable alchemist, benevolent, ain't with the nasty. The nasty meaning malevolent, unnecessarily cruel and baneful behavior, especially on the innocent. And they're open and without apology, and they don't care about who has something to say about it. And maybe that's the part of the vomit, because secretly you're reading horoscopes every day, and secretly you're going to get readings and doing rituals. But because you're afraid of what your culture and your people are going to say, you hide it, and then scapegoat onto the one that unapologetically themselves, with their flaws and all. Anyway, I wouldn't be surprised if that's a part of the targeting, when you start to break up some of these various subgroups, because we have it on the macro and the micro. I really wouldn't be surprised that some of it could be very much rooted in that kind of thing. People who conformed and stayed with that because that's what they were taught, and they felt like they didn't have any other choice. So why should you be any different? Why should you not have to work an 8 to 5? Or why should you not have to, work yourself into an early grave for nickels and dimes? Why shouldn't you, have to schmooze and kiss ass and Why shouldn't you have to be subject to the same treachery and 20-year processes they've had to just to get to mediocre? And people aren't always aware though. And that's the funny thing. So you guys, when you see this video later, you know, people are coming in here, if they're crazy, like weird witches, warlocks, that's fucked up in the head. This is something, it just is what it is. Okay? The fact that you're alive, the fact that you exist, the fact that you're thriving, the fact that you're good at something, bitch, it's sad, isn't it? The fact that you're good at something and you're speaking is why they're poking on dolls and you know, conjuring entities and shit that they're all gonna eat, that's gonna sit on them and they sleep. Hey, especially it's depending on some ancestors, some teams, some of y'all. It's gonna be like, there, well, it's time for you to get fucked up, nigga. So you say you like fucking with the disabled, huh, ho? So you say, Colt, you like to sacrifice the pure for your ratchet ass. So you fool with that. You down. Very well. As you wish. Watch your back.